myself again. But it's the only way you're ever gonna learn. You look back and it's all in the past. I'm dwelling on the thoughts I cannot say to you. If I don't say the words, then maybe it's...
Hi, welcome along to NUFC Matters. I'm joined by George Mitchell for another episode of Those Were the Days, and we're back in the 50s still. George, what season are we going for this week?
53-54.
53-54. Still in those Halicon days of FA Cup glory. So where we're starting?
Well, we're starting really at the end of the previous season because, as you remember, there was still a lot of controversy in Newcastle about all the things that had gone, that horrible tour of Africa, and so on. And so things still weren't settling down. And in fact, there was national controversy about the championship because that year Arsenal won the title, but they won it on goal average. They didn't use goal difference in those days. And I've worked it out that Arsenal won the title, beat Preston by 0.099 of a goal. Now, when you get to those sort of calculations, you think, is it worthwhile? So I think goal difference was the best way to settle that, I think, eventually. But Arsenal's goal average was 1.51 and Preston's was 1.41. And the winning margin was a hair's breadth. So that set things going. But we didn't get off to a flying start that season because no sooner had the season got underway when there was 7 first-team players who'd asked for a transfer. And the other thing to note is that suddenly Norman Smith isn't just a trainer anymore. He's now become our assistant manager. And I think that's something to do with the way that Norman persuaded players to stay where they were rather than go bombing off. But the other big thing, of course, was that Joe Harvey decided to retire. Now, there's a massive change for us. I think the first 2 photos are of Joe Harvey. That's him at home, relaxing. And the next one, I think, is the Joe Harvey we remember with the FA Cup. He decided to retire and he became the manager of Crook Town, which didn't seem like a major change that you'd expect for somebody like Joe Harvey. But he went to Crook Town. And the irony is the very next year, Crook Town won the FA Amateur Cup for the first time, beat Bishop Auckland, who virtually owned that trophy. But with Joe at the helm, they seem to do wonders. And all the pundits had us really in a relegation battle. They didn't fancy our chances greatly that year. The teams that were fancied were Arsenal, were Preston, West Bromwich Albion. They were the 3 that everybody thought would challenge for the title. But we were nowhere to be seen in that sort of thoughts. And the reason was fairly simple. I mean, we had this problem with these players wanting to be had their names on the transfer list. If you go through the next few photos, Steve, I'll talk over the photos. George Hanna was the first team player. He wanted away. That's him, incidentally, in a Manchester City strip, where he ended up eventually, but not that time. Norman Smith persuaded him to stay. And the next one is another one. That's Alan Monkhouse, who had hardly joined the club from Millwall, and he was persuaded to stay as well. Then there's just go to the next one, Steve. And this is Billy Fuchs. This is Billy Fuchs, who was the Welsh lad who played either in midfield or on the right wing. Very talented player, played for Wales for a lot of years. And he decided, as you can see from his strip, to go to Southampton. And that in itself wasn't an easy shift because so after he'd been there about 3 weeks, Southampton decided that they'd been sold a pup. They went to the FA and complained that they'd got a player who wasn't properly fit and all the rest of it. And so there was an FA tribunal who interviewed Bill Fuchs, and he went for a medical. When he came back, the FA said, "Well, we can't find anything wrong. He's okay." Meanwhile, Bill Fuchs votes on his feet, and he goes back to Wales and starts to play in the Welsh League with one of the Welsh teams. He came back for a short while, played a couple of games for Southampton, and scored a couple of goals just to show that he was fit and ready to play. But it was so soured. His relationship with Southampton was so soured. He disappeared back to Wales, and that's where he stayed. And he played Welsh football for about another 10 years until he was well into his 40s. But typical Newcastle, nothing goes smoothly or straight for Newcastle United. There should be another photo, Steve. I'm not sure.
We're into this one now.
All right. That's Tommy Walker shaking hands with the King at the Cup final. Now, Tommy Walker was another one who wanted a transfer. And unfortunately, even though he was a local lad, I think there's another one of Tommy straight after, Steve, if they're in the right order. That's him scoring at White Hart Lane against Spurs. Great, speedy right winger, good shot, very clever and very dangerous, always ready to score a goal or two if necessary. And even the next one might be Tommy, I think. I don't know. No, that's Reggie Davis. Leave that one for the time being. Tommy Walker decided he wasn't going to stay, and he went to Oldham. And the difference was that Oldham had offered him and his wife a very posh house in Cheshire somewhere, and that was the thing that swung it for Tommy Walker. And off Tommy went. And there's no doubt he was a miss, but fortunately we had people sort of coming in the background who could play right wing, like Len White, and of course in emergency, Jackie Milburn could play on the right wing, and Vic Keeble in the centre, or Len White in the centre. So Tommy wasn't exactly a huge miss, but it was sad to see a local lad go to Oldham. The next one that was up front, so it was Reggie Davis, the Welsh inside forward. Clever little player, always get 2 or 3 goals. In fact, more than 2 or 3 goals. Always got double figures in goals from being midfield, which was unusual in those days. I think the next one's him as well. It is Welsh strip, I think. That's Red Davis in his Welsh strip, and a really a lightweight sort of character. He's sort of Tony Green character in terms of build. But clever and quick and a good shot on him. Now, he was persuaded by Smith to stay, by Norman Smith to stay, and he did stay and went on and had a couple of 2 or 3 good seasons with her. I'm trying to think who else is on. Oh, I think Ron Batty might be the next one. No, Bob Stokoe. Bob Stokoe wanted a transfer as well. Another local lad who would have been sad to go, but he was persuaded by Norman Smith to stay, and I think you're seeing why Norman Smith suddenly became assistant manager, not just a trainer, because he was doing a lot of work behind the scenes, keeping these lads happy. I think he bought them. I think he upped their wages, to be perfectly honest. And that's, of course, the famous Bob Stokoe statue outside another place in the northeast, which I won't mention, but thoroughly deserved as far as they're concerned. I mean, to do what he did with that team and win the cup was worthy of something special. So Bob Stokoe decided to stay. I don't think there's anybody else, actually. Yes, I think there's Ron Batty might be the next one. That's we've talked about Alan Monkhouse. That's him again. That's a sketch of Alan Monkhouse. No, go back. That's Ron Batty. That was the next one I was looking for. Another local lad, left back, who was for various reasons, like a lot of the others, was fed up. And I think this is all a throwback to the previous season when the place was in such turmoil. But again, Norman Smith persuaded Ron to settle down and fight for his place and so on. And I think people were glad that he did. So we had another local player that was rescued. And now Newcastle, and I've got to say, it's one of the things Seymour did do, which was very important. When he knew Harvey was going, as soon as he knew Harvey was going, he went after this bloke, Jimmy Schooler from Portsmouth. Now, Jimmy was captain of the Portsmouth team that won the championship twice, 2 years running, played for Scotland, and an extremely fit player. And hard. Those thick thighs of his aren't an accident. He was before he joined Portsmouth, he was a PT instructor in the Navy, and he did all sorts of exercises to strengthen the lower part of his body. And you can see his thighs were very well developed, and he had a heck of a reputation for tackling. They used to say, if you've been tackled by a schooler, you know you've been tackled. And what a clever player he was as well. And again, from midfield, he wasn't afraid of knocking the odd goal in as well. So that's the one thing Seymour did actually, was to get another captain who could replace Harvey, because there's no doubt about it, Joe Harvey was going to be a big miss, but to get somebody in who'd captain the league champions straight away and be a Scottish international, and Jimmy Schooler was the fit, and I think he demonstrated in the subsequent seasons what a good and sensible signing that he was, Schooler. So we're now starting to settle down into something like a season. However, meanwhile, while all this is going on at St James's Park, a few miles down the road at another place, they've just acquired the title, the Bank of England Club. The Bank of England Club, because they'd signed 10 players, all current internationals: Billy Elliott, Ray Daniel, George Aitken, Jimmy Cowan, all playing for their countries, and all at prices above £20,000. I mean, it was incredible, and that's what happened. The press labelled them the Bank of England Club. Interestingly enough, when they signed Ray Daniel, the centre half, captain of Wales from Arsenal, for 30,000, it prompted the Arsenal chairman to write to the FA and say, it's time the FA did something about Sunderland. This is unfair. They're spending all this money and nobody else can keep up with them. Does that sound familiar? I mean, it's not fair. They're spending all this money and nobody else is going to get a look in. And they, as I say, they bought 10. I mean, Billy Elliott was playing for England and from Burnley, and they bought him, and it was just incredible. In fact, to rub salt into the wounds, as far as we were concerned, they actually tried to buy Jackie Milburn from us, and the reason they tried to buy him was that one of Jackie's best friends, and people don't remember this or realise this, was Glenn Shackleton. Shaq and Jackie were great mates on and off the pitch. Their wives were friends. So I think Sunderland thought, well, if he wants to come here and Shaq's here, he might do it, because he'd had that in that previous season. He had been tempted to ask for a transfer because he felt a bit upset. He'd had an injury. He'd been out of the team a lot, but he in the summer he'd gone back to his professional running friends at Powder Hall, and they got him fit. I think that's really what happened. But lo and behold, Jackie wasn't interested in a transfer to Sunderland, and thank goodness he wasn't. I think seeing Jackie Milburn in a red and white shirt might have made me slightly sick and nauseous, I think. But never mind. He decided he would stay where he was, and thank goodness. But just to demonstrate what was happening at Roker Park, they had a similar style of pre-season that we had. I think I mentioned to you, was it last time or the time before, that we used to have practice games where the reserve defence, the full team defence used to play against the full team forwards. And of course, they played in a white shirts and striped shirts. And after that game, they used to play possibles v probables and all that. Well, Sunderland had a similar system. And at the beginning of this season, they had their whites playing the stripes. And at half time, the stripes, who were the first team defence, were actually leading 4-2. But after this, in the second half, Shackleton and Ford went berserk, and the score ended up 8-6 to the whites, with Shackleton and Trevor Ford, the Welsh centre forward, just knocking goals in willy-nilly. It was incredible. However, it gave them, I think, a false sense of where they were going to be, they were getting lots of plaudits. They were actually sneaking into one or two of the pundits, reckoning that if you want an outsider for the title, it may be the Bank of England clubs, the club you need to look for. Where when they talked about us, we were the ones that were going to hang on by our fingernails like we had the season before. Anyway, they had this, and then lo and behold, the fixtures came out. And who was our first game against? Yes, the Mackhams at St James's Park. I mean, it's incredible that, on 22nd of August, we played them, and lo and behold, we beat them 2-1. And 58,500 in the ground. And our team then was Simpson, Cowell, Batty, Stoke, Schooler, Brennan, Crow, Milburn, Davies, Keeble, Hannah, and Bobby Mitchell. Now, Sunderland's played their team of all-stars, and Jimmy Cowan was the Scottish goalkeeper. Ray Daniel was the Welsh centre-half. Arthur Wright was playing for England. George Aitken for Scotland. Len Shackleton was in the England team at that time. And Trevor Ford was the centre-forward for Wales. And as I say, they were expected to do wonders. And unfortunately, we blunted them a little bit. First goal came from Shackleton in the first half. And they went in 1-0 at half-time. And then just after the start of the second half, Vic Keeble headed the equaliser. And then, just before the end, about 5 minutes before the end, Bobby Mitchell earned the penalty and then slotted one in. Jack Headley, the fullback who used to live in Wallsend, not far from where I used to live, brought Bobby Mitchell down and he scored the penalty. So we beat them 2-1. An unexpected victory as far as we were concerned. So that got the season off to a reasonable start. But it didn't stay like that. We went another 11 games before we got a win at home. I mean, that's the reverse of the record we had last season, where we won 11 or 12 on the bounce, where we were losing them and getting the odd draws, but we're right down in the league. But it was happening not just to us, but it was happening to the Mackhams as well, and to Middlesbrough, who were not doing very well either. And indeed, there was one state of the season where they were doing so badly. It was conceivable that all three Northeast teams would disappear from the first division and get relegated. I mean, it was unthinkable, but it looked like it might happen. We were playing so badly, it wasn't true. Anyway, we get to December, where we're struggling near the bottom, and comes the return of the derby match with Sunderland, and we go to Roker Park, and they're expected to turn us over at Roker Park, but lo and behold, it didn't happen. 49,800 at Roker Park, and Stan Anderson scored the first goal for them, and then Ivor Broders, who joined us along with Jimmy Schooler, a good signing from Manchester City, a very expensive signing from Manchester City, in England, in midfielder. And Ivor Broders scored the equaliser. Well, the irony in that is, of course, that Ivor Broders, before he went to Manchester City, used to play for Sunderland. In fact, I think there's a picture of Ivor Broadus on one of the strips I've got. That's him. That's Ivor Broadus in a black and white strip. And if you move it on, I think the next one's that's him at Roker Park in a Mackham strip against Tottenham, and he ended up going to Manchester City, then coming to us. But as I say, the irony of this one is he scored the equaliser that got us the draw in front of 49,000 at Roker Park. Interesting thing about going to that match is that there weren't tickets. I mean, now if we had a match like that now, it would be all ticket. You know, there would be where we just went and queued at the turnstiles like everybody else, and Newcastle fans tended to go into the Fulwell end anyway, but that didn't matter. People just went in through the gate like everybody else and just mixed together. And I don't remember there being ever being any real trouble. Little bit of banter maybe, but not the sort of bottle thrown and goodness knows what I think you would get if it happened now. I mean, it would just be
back in those days. People used to go to Newcastle one week and Sunderland the next, George.
Well, we did, and as I said to you before, because we had relatives in Middlesbrough, we used to occasionally go through to the Middlesbrough match. And the other thing that we did, and I've again mentioned this to you before, if there was nobody else, none of the big teams playing locally, Dad and I would go to Gateshead. We'd go to Reggie Park. And in fact, the last time we went to Reggie Park was that season, the last season I talked about, because everybody up here got knocked out the cup except Gateshead. And Gateshead got to the 6th round of the FA Cup that season and were knocked out 1-0 by Bolton at Redruth Park. And then I remember my father and I going to that. In fact, I think that was a ticket match because the Gateshead were worried about the security, about the number that would get into Redruth Park. And my father worked at the Close Works in Felon. I don't know if you know where the Close Works are, Steve.
Yeah.
Well, my dad was working there, and he knew somebody in there that had connections with Gateshead, and he got a couple of tickets. So, I mean, going to one place or the other wasn't unusual. And as you know, we lived in Howden, so it was dead easy for us to nip through the pedestrian tunnel at Howden and catch a bus to supporters bus to Sunderland. So come 19th of December, we got a 1-1 draw with the Mackhams. But more importantly to that is that the Christmas games arrived. And again, as I've said on here before, the FA in their wisdom, and I think it was the right thing to do, used to try and make some of the derby games over the holiday period so people didn't have far to travel. And our derby games this particular year were against Middlesbrough. So on the 25th of December, that's Christmas Day, we went to Ayson Park to play Middlesbrough. And it was going to be a tough game because both teams were sitting quite near the bottom of the league. But lo and behold, we beat them 3-2. However, it wasn't that easy. 2-0 to them at half time through Johnny Spuler and Jeff Walker. And I don't know what was said in the dressing room at half time, but the minute they came out, Bobby Mitchell scored. Then Alan Monkhouse equalised, and Jimmy Schooler scored the winner just before the final whistle. So, needless to say, people went home extremely, extremely happy. We didn't go to that one. At least I didn't go to that one, but obviously the family did that lived through there.
Yeah.
But again, it was incredible to go there and get them, and we're desperately needed. As I say, we'd gone 11 games at home without getting anything, which was absolutely desperate. Our team on the day was predictable. It was the usual. It was Simpson, Cowell, Michael Schooler, Brennan Stoko. It was Jackie Milburn, Ivor Broadus, Alan Monkhouse, George Hanna, and Bobby Mitchell. And even in games like these, we useful to have somebody like Jackie Milburn, who was as willing to play down the right wing as he was to play at centre forward. an interesting contrast to the sort of thing that that stupid little man Dyer did to Bobby Robson. You know, I'm not playing on the right wing sort of thing. Well, there's a great player called Jackie Milburn giving you a good example of how to do it. And then Saturday, the 26th of December, my birthday as it happens, the return game against Middlesbrough. So the fans, you know, had 40 miles approximately to travel to go to these matches, which was great. Where nowadays we could end up at Brighton or somewhere like that with a match like this, which is just absolutely balmy. Anyway, they came to St James's Park on 26, and it wasn't a very happy birthday for me because 3-2 was the score, but the other way around, they got the 3 and we got the 2. Yeah, I know at 3-0 at half time. I mean, it was a giveaway. I remember it. The feeling in the Gallagher corner when at half time, you can imagine 3-0 down, and everybody thought, well, this is it, especially with and it was Lindy Delfina, a West Indian player that played for them, was a great player. Sammy Laurie, who eventually went to Charlton, and Seamus O'Connell, who was guesting for Middlesbrough from Bishop Auckland. And Seamus O'Connell ended up playing for Chelsea when Bishop Auckland's team split up during the Manchester Munich thing. Anyway, Seamus O'Connell ended up back at Bishop Auckland and then eventually Chelsea. After half time, Ivor Broadus scored, and then just before the end, Bobby Mitchell scored a second, but they were really consolation goals. 43,000 rather, 700 at the game. Went home like I did on my birthday, quite disappointed at that result because its implication was quite serious for us as a team where we were in the league. And as I say, by this time in the season, it was conceivable that all 3 Northeast clubs could actually go down into the second division, and it was only an end of season turnaround of the sort that we seen last year, where we got into a run of form where we seemed unbeatable. I mean, it was just incredible. I'm just trying to sort out 1 or 2 other things, Steve. What's the next photo I've got on now?
We've got a couple of team photos here.
Right. That's the Arsenal Championship team that won the championship with this 0.099 of a goal. And the other ones, them in their second strip, I think. That's the second strip, which it looks like black and white there, but it actually is bright yellow. You know, however, it's an old photograph. So, and the reason I'm showing that is that there was a period when, towards the end of the season, where we realised we're probably going to have to beat Arsenal to survive, and that, you know, to beat the current champions was going to be something. As it happens, they weren't doing as well as people expected them to do, and so the opportunity might come its way. The next, I don't know what the next photo is, Steve. Well, that's our trip to Arsenal in the November when Arsenal beat with 2-1. It was a close game, but you know, they did what was expected of, and that's the inside of the program. And you can see our team was pretty predictable: Cowell, McMichael, Schooler, Brennan, Stoko, Walker, Broadus, Milburn, Hannah, and Mitchell. Actually, the Walker one isn't right. It wasn't actually Walker. It was Alan Monkhouse, because Walker had been transferred to Oldham. But never mind that. That's another issue. There's quite an issue with programs if you look closely. What's the next one, Steve? Next picture. Right. That's we're back at the match at St James's Park, which, as I say, it turned out to be more than important, and I'll keep that till
Later on. Well, I'll let you get started. I'm going to do, as I always do at this stage of the programme, I'm going to give a shout out to our sponsors. So it's a big thank you to Spider Miner, worldwide coverage from Gareth and Nathan and the lads, the only cryptocurrency miner that can mine 5 different cryptocurrencies at the same time whilst using virtually no energy, and it's VPN protected. Buy yours now at www.miner.spidervpn.org. Thanks to Scott and the lads at Skips and Bins. You can telephone them at 0800 25 45 25 3. Email inquiries at skipsandbins.com. Website www.skipsandbins.com. Easy contract free and pay as you go waste collection. Thanks also to L&G Family Funeral Directors 01913897245 and the Garden of Healing Dispensary, CBD hemp and cannabinoid specialists www.thegohd.com. Thanks to qtechshop.co.uk, the makers of pool tables and snooker tables in Wallsend, Newcastle, and the guys who run our website, NUFCmatters.com. And thanks to ClearKai, meet the new Game Over screen, drop into a Clee Run device near you, available on Apple Store, Google Play, and clearrun.game. Thanks to Media Arts for all the help with the video side of things. And if you want to subscribe to the channel, hit the Newcastle Legends logo in the bottom right-hand corner, and you can subscribe for free. Hit the thumb up to like the video, click share to your social media, and drop into the comments box to speak to like-minded Newcastle fans. We are on 7 days a week. We're also available as a podcast on iTunes, Spotify, Podbean, and the rest. It's usually available 24 hours after the show has been broadcast on YouTube. Don't forget as well, you can become a member of the channel by clicking join underneath the video. Or you can pay slightly more and go to NUFCmatters.com and click membership and get a pen, a scarf, and a membership card and a cup. And that is for the pricely fee of £25. It's a one-off payment. You can also put your smartphone over this QR code, which will take you straight to that place on the website. If you're a subscriber, then you can go to NUFCmatters.com, email John, and he will send you a free car sticker. Don't forget, we do support the food bank on here. NUFC fans, foodbank.co.uk is where you can make a virtual deposit to the bucket, and that is available 365 days of the year. Don't forget as well, we are still doing the raffle. If you are watching this within the month of June and July, we are still doing this monthly raffle for the Alan Shearer Ball. It is NUFCmatters.com. 99 tickets available, $2.99 a ticket. Get yourself involved. You've got to be in it to win it. And we also have some wonderful hand-signed T-shirts and mug gift packs, £50 each from NUFCmatters.com, signed by Alan Shearer. Get yourself on NUFCmatters.com. It's a great shop, well worth a visit. Okay, George, back to you, mate. And the next picture we had was Arsenal, but I'm sure you've got something else.
Yes. I said at the beginning that the 3 teams people thought were going to challenge for the league were Arsenal, Preston, and West Bromwich Albion. Now, as it happens, 2 of those teams are teams that my family used to like to go and see, Preston and West Brom, because they always enjoyed a good football game, a proper football game. And in this particular year, the 2 West Brom games were very close together in the September. And the away game, and which quite a few of my family went to, was in the 9th of September. And we drew 2-2, and everybody was very, very happy with that. Keeble and Mitchell scored, and Ryan and Ria Barlow scored for West Brom. The return match was at the 16th of September. Now, I've never worked out why the FA put the Football League put these games so close together. But this was, I think I've once said on one of the channels that this is one of the best football games I've seen from an attacking point of view. It was just incredible and stuff. And every time one team went forward, you expected somebody to score. And unfortunately for us, because we're in that bad run of form where we'd had 11 games without getting anything, we lost 7-3, which is quite a score to lose by. Went in at half-time 3-0 up, would you believe? Mitchell, Keeble. And then after half-time, I don't know what was said in the dressing room, Johnny Nichols, 1, 2, 3, in a space of 10 minutes, he got a hat-trick. Ronnie Allen scored, Frank Griven, Reg Ryan, and then another Ronnie Allen goal just to rub it in. But what a game it was, and 57,800 at that match. and what a game to see. As I say, with West Brom, we always felt that you're going to see a good football game. The manager Arthur Rowley was a good footballer, and the teams he managed seemed to play his style of football. The other team I mentioned was soon to come up just shortly after the Christmas was Preston North End, and again, I was being told by my betters at the Chicken Road Academy, well, watch for Tom Finney, watch for this, watch for that, watch for Charlie Wayman, our ex-centre forward, and off we went to see this game. What a disaster! Watch Charlie Wayman. All right, he tore us apart. Again, I never seen Frank Brennan have such a game where he was seen totally lost. And Frank Brennan was a huge giant of a man. Charlie Wayman was quite a small man, but very nippy. Great goal scorer. I mean, a lot of people here absolutely not just upset, but absolutely irate that Newcastle sold him to Southampton, and then eventually went to Preston. And we got treated to 2 Charlie Wayman goals before half time. Bobby Foster, and then it said a Jimmy Baxter penalty. Well, shouldn't have been Jimmy Baxter. It was Tom Finney. Yet the programme said Jimmy Baxter, and even this bit of paper I'm reading from, which is from the website, the World Football website, says Jimmy Baxter, and it wasn't. It was Tom Finney. And in fact, I think I've got a photograph of Tom Finney in there somewhere, which you'll show. That's him. That's him in that very game, heading towards the goal at the Gallagher end. And it was, I don't know why the program was wrong. It wasn't advertised that he was playing, that he was carrying an injury, but Tom Finney did play, and they absolutely tore us to shreds. And again, which put us really on the brink of an absolute disaster. And then suddenly we started to win some games. And start with there was 5 that we won. Well, I'll just do them as I've got them. 3rd of April against Manchester City. Again, this was a game that we weren't expected to win, even though it was at home, because our form was so bad. But lo and behold, we got 4-0 by half time. Jackie Milburn, Alan Monkhouse, and Reg Davis. Manchester City came out after half time and really give it a go. They got a Johnny Hart penalty, which sort of give them a lift. Roy Clark got a goal from a corner, and Billy McAdams got a good goal just before the end. But we held on to a 4-3 win, which we weren't expected to do. And some of the names in that Manchester City team, Bert Troutman, the goalkeeper, of course, the guy who played nearly 90 minutes in the cup final with a broken neck. David Ewan and Roy Paul, who were international halfbacks. Billy McAdams and Roy Clark, who was an international winger. Our team was fairly predictable. The only change in it was that they give an opportunity to a young halfback called Joe Cooper, and he was a centre half, and a wing half, and they pushed Bob Stoker into centre half and left Frank Brennan out. I think as a result of what had happened against Preston, but it was a disaster. Joe Cooper wasn't really up to it, and they were constantly having to shore him up. So that was one win that we got. And then the next one we got was we played Sheffield United. And again, it was expected to be a difficult game. It wasn't easy. But lo and behold, with, I'm trying to see, 36,000 in the ground, nearly 37,000 in the ground. And we beat Sheffield United 4-1. So there was another victory in the pot, lifting off the bottom. And the goals were Alan Monkhouse, hat-trick. Jackie Milburn and Sam McNabb towards the end got a consolation for Sheffield United. Alan Monkhouse came to us from Millwall for quite a bit of money, I think about 14 grand. He actually started his career at Thornaby on Teesside, and Newcastle looked at him, but they didn't do anything about it, and he ended up signing for Millwall. But we bought him back to the northeast for quite a bit of money. But after this season, Alan Monkhouse just disappeared. He got to the stage where he couldn't hit the proverbial barn door when he was on the pitch, and so he slowly but surely disappeared. But in this match, he certainly hit the barn door. So there was another great victory as far as we're concerned. It was starting to look like we actually might survive this division. And the next game, home game that of any significance, was against Sheffield Wednesday. Now this one was the one that we should have won, because they were hedging round the bottom, the same as we were, and the Mackhams and Middlesbrough were, and we beat them 3-0. Bobby Mitchell, Alan Monkhouse. That was a game I remember, which was Bobby scored twice, but he was the star of the show. It was one of those games where he was just outstanding, to put it mildly. And of course, the Sheffield Wednesday team had some well-known people in their team. Albert Quicksall played for England quite a lot, a really, really talented young player. Jack Marriott, Redfern Froggatt, who played for England as well. So they weren't slouches, but we got a 3-0 win, which hiked us up the league just a little bit more away from the relegation zone. And then we came to the one which was the Arsenal game, where I've had the program you've been hovering over for a while, Steve. I think that's the Arsenal.
Trying to find, there we are. 2 seconds. We've got a couple of programs here, so I'm going to take a potluck and go for that one. There it is.
That's the one. That's the one. And this was a game nobody outside of St James's Park expected us to win. But the top and bottom of it was they hadn't anticipated that Reggie Davis would probably have the best game ever he played for Newcastle United. He tore Arsenal to shreds. Not only did he tear them to shreds, he scored a hat-trick. And by half-time, we were 3-0 up. And straight after half-time, George Hanna added a fourth and Len White a fifth. And just before the end, Cliff Holton and Arthur Milton, both international players, got consolations for Arsenal with 48,000 in the ground. I think you could hear after that match the collective sigh of relief around St James's Park, because everybody knew that was it. That there was no way we were going to go down after that. With one match left, and that was at Chelsea. I think I might have put the Chelsea programme in. That was the Chelsea game. Well, to lo and behold, we went to Chelsea and won there as well, 2-1, 2 Jackie Milburn goals. So, we spent the season hovering on or about the bottom of the league, and ended up. I've already talked about the Sheffield United game. That was the programme for it, and again. Now that's the cup match. I haven't spoken about the cup yet. We spent hovering about the bottom of the league, so you can imagine the collective sigh of relief when that Arsenal game was over. The FA Cup, well, we were playing so bad in the league, nobody realistically thought anything about it. FA Cup third round, well. Gifted were a home game against a non-league team called Wigan Athletic, and we did what Newcastle very often do. We drew 2-2 with this non-league team, and to be honest, we were lucky to get 2-2 to get another chance at them, because they played very well and gave us a very, very tough time. So within a couple of days on the Wednesday, the replay was at Wigan. Now, this is a one where it was a ticket match, so the Chicken Road Academy went and seen Alfie Hollins and said, will you run the bus to Wigan and get some tickets? And he did. So they all went off to Wigan for this replay and had a fantastic time. Now, I have to say that the press around the game was brilliant, because all the Wigan fans and staff praised the Newcastle fans and team and directors for the way they were received in Newcastle. They had a fantastic time in Newcastle, and then repeated it again when they went to Wigan, because it was the biggest crowd that Wigan had ever had. Well, they were non-league, but even so, they had a quite a big ground. So they went and they won 3-2. Again, another good game, but a one which Jackie Milburn shone and really brought the bacon home. The fourth round brought it away to Burnley, and I think because it was away, most people thought, well, that's that. We're not gonna. They will not get any further than this. But they drew 1-1 with a headed goal from Vic Keeble. I think that you had the Burnley programme on there.
Yeah, we had it up before, yeah.
It was great relief that we got the draw to bring them back to St James's Park on the Wednesday, February the 3rd, and we beat them 1-0. So the hopes started to rise a little bit that we might just do something in the FA Cup, especially by the time the fifth round came round, because we were starting into that win and run that we had with the league games. Unfortunately, we were drawn away to West Brom, and we lost 3-2 to West Brom. They just got the winning goal in what was a fantastic match. So my family tell me it was. So it was a season to end seasons. I mean, I got the see at the beginning the number of people we brought in. Bobby Ferguson, who's played for a while, Schooler, Stuart Mitchell, a goalkeeper from Scotland, Ivor Broadus, Bill Curry, a youngster we brought in for ourselves, Alan Monkhouse from Millwall, Albert Franks from Sunderland, who Sunderland were getting rid of because they'd brought all these people in. Now, Albert Franks stayed with us for quite a while and was a good squad player. And Bill Punton from Portadown, who was a good left winger for a while, and Bobby Cummins from New Hartley. So there was a lot of activity at St James before the season even started. And of course, the out side was John Duncan, who retired injured. Joe Harvey retired and went to Crooktown. Frank Houghton, who played for Newcastle for a lot of years, was released in the hope he could get another contract somewhere else. But I think it was a vain thing. Frank was on his way out, I think it's fair to say. And then there was George Luke, who were let go to Hartlepool. Now, interestingly, George Luke would have a great 10 years at Hartlepool. Fantastic time at Hartlepool. Be a star player. And guess what? We got into trouble 10 years later and were scrapping around for players, and we brought George Luke back. He ended up playing on the left wing of Newcastle again 10 years after we'd got rid of him. And it reflects on some of the things the lads were saying last night about looking after Elliot Anderson and all this sort of thing. I reckon if somebody looked after George Luke, we wouldn't have to look for a replacement for Bobby Mitchell. There was a replacement there who were brought back 10 years later. So, that was the sort of turmoil that was going on at St James's Park at the time. I'm trying to think where else I was going to look at. Oh, final position in the league. Average attendance was about 47,000, something like that. And Wolves won the league, were the champions. West Brom were second. And we were 15th. But when you look at the points down below, Middlesbrough actually did go down with Liverpool on 30 points. We had 38. The Mackhams were 18th on 36 points. So they weren't too far away either. So that bottom of the league was from bottom up to us was covered 10 points. It was ridiculous the way it was, but it was as I say, we were on the right side of it at the time. But it had been a cold sweat for a long time, is how all I can describe it, because at that period where we went 11 games without getting anything at home, really we're down on the bottom. And as I say, there was a period around the Christmas time when all three North East clubs could conceivably have disappeared. So it was not a cup season. It was a season. The Newcastle official website describes it as a season of transition. I would describe it as a season of sheer bloody panic, because that's what we're in most of the time. But nevertheless, still, like I keep saying, it's Newcastle United, so it's entertaining. Win or lose, it's always entertaining.
Yeah, fantastic, George. Just as doing a show with you every week, mate, is very entertaining as well. George, we'll leave it there. Look forward to joining you again next week, mate, for another Those Were the Days. Thanks very much, George.
Thanks, Steve. Nice to do it. Thank you. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.